All right. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Can you please stand for the pledge? Yeah, will you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I missed our last meeting. I don't know if we had the screen there before that, but I like it. It looks good. So thanks for doing that. I know we did have some questions about getting a bigger screen for us. So is that you?
No.
Somebody. Thank you. All right. Michelle, thank you very much. We like it. First up on the agenda is the approval of the 9/9/25 minutes. We've had an opportunity to review those. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Jen.
Second.
Thank you, Sue. Any corrections, further discussion in reference to those minutes? All right, seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up is the approval of the 9/23/25 minutes. We've had an opportunity to review those. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Jen. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Carrie. Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up is student reports. Do we have students here for reports?
Yes.
Awesome. Flathead? Glacier? Perfect. Okay. Okay. We'll start off with Glacier. Thanks for coming. Step up to the microphone, hit the silver button, turn the red light on, and give us your report. That's okay, so am I, so don't worry about it. You guys will do awesome, like all the students do.
Okay. Hi, my name is Jillian McGuire. I'm a senior at Glacier High School and I play flag football. I'm strictly defense. I'm a linebacker. This was probably my best season. I don't know. I've had 4 years of experience. So I was on the very first flag football team, and I think that my flag football career has been something to be proud of. I have gotten a lot better over the years. And I think that Carly and I have been good contributors to our team, and we've helped the younger girls get a lot better as well. You want to go?
Sure. Okay, I'm Carly Allen. I also play flag football. I've been the quarterback the last 2 years, and it's like this has been like a great opportunity for girls. I'd say like to have just another opportunity to play a sport that like people like wouldn't expect girls to get to play. And like Flathead and Glacier, like we've been like one of like the top like teams, I'd say, like in the state of Montana, especially like having it like both like all these like last 4 years that we've had this season, and like obviously like we've been super successful the last 4 years, and I just like am like hoping like the next few years, like within the next couple of years, that flag football gets sanctioned for like the state, because it's like one of the fastest growing sports in the state, in like the United States. So it's been like really fun to get to play.
And you guys were towards the top. How'd you guys do?
I think by super successful, I think they mean 3-time back-to-back.
Oh, well,
It's 4 now.
Sorry, 4. I didn't know if they gave out the triple the first year. 4-time state champion.
it has to be
Super successful.
the students, not the coaching, correct? That's awesome. Any other questions for these wonderful students?
I do.
Yes, go ahead.
So my daughters they're 8 and 10. They love watching you guys play flag football. So it's always super fun to watch. And
Glacier and Flathead have wonderful programs, and we were at Crosstown and watched you guys on NFHS
Yeah.
at state as well. I'm like, what's that acronym? Anyway, but I guess I'm so excited to see it taking off at the high school level. And, all programs have stuff that starts down at the lower ages. And I'm wondering, are you guys offering any camps or anything coming up for kids in the younger ranks who want to start playing flag football?
This summer, I know can't speak for Flathead, but I know that we held a camp like that, like us girls who played, and then like our coach was there, and so we offered like it for middle school. There was middle school girls that were able to come and learn, so like that they get to like see what the sport's like, and so that they're like ready for like when they come to high school if they want to play it or not.
Any other questions?
Do you guys think you'll have a chance to play in college?
I have two offers right now to go play in college, and it's in Tennessee and Missouri, so I'm looking forward to that. But there's a lot of opportunities for girls like coming up, and it's not a like NCAA sport yet, but in the next few years, I'm sure like it'll start taking off.
Oh, I was just gonna say I'm going to nursing school, so I'm not gonna do sports. But
The quarterback before you, she's playing in college down in Missouri.
There,
somewhere?
she had she had an offer to go play track, but she decided not to.
Oh, okay. I thought I got it conflated. Sorry. Anyway, thank you. You'll be the first. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Scott, do you mind if I just say really quick, as someone who graduated high school over 25 years ago, which probably sounds like a long time to you guys, you just make us so proud. We didn't have flag football. We didn't have opportunities to wrestle. And so only 25 years later to see you up here representing as female athletes is super, super exciting. So thanks. Really proud of you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
When I graduated, they had powder puffs.
Oh, Jack, powder puffs are offensive.
But it looked just as rough as what they play here. I saw girls carried off the field because of incidents on the field, so to me it was a very rough. This was in St. Louis at the time, and I'm talking about 71, 72.
So,
It was not.
Jack,
Very misleading labor.
I think at our last board meeting, I think you guys had a game coming up, or maybe Flathead did, and I encouraged all the board members to go watch it because it is one of the most exciting high school sports that we have, and it's so fun to watch. I think it's, no offense to any of the other sports, but I think it's way more fun to watch than all of the other sports. And like watching football, where no offense to people who play defensive or offensive line, but that like clogs up the middle of the field, so you can't actually see people move that much. And with like football, you can see them make every single cut and spin and move, and it's a super dynamic sport to watch. So that's what I have to say about flag football, Jack, in response to your comments.
Well, to me, females should be refereed differently than males, and often I see that occur, which is unfortunate. But I was impressed even back in the 70s how rough those games were, and it was good to see that then.
Any other questions for? Any other?
Congratulations, you guys.
Thank you.
Okay. Flathead?
Hi guys. Sorry I'm late again. Football ran a little long. But kind of just gonna jump right into it. The most obvious thing that we kind of had this past, I guess, month. Is up to you guys. Jeez. Was our homecoming dance. We ended up having about 1,100 people attend, which is a record high for us, especially in the past. Yeah, I would not want to chaperone it either. It was crazy in there. And then our volleyball game, besides Crosstown, we had our largest non-Crosstown student section there, which is actually a really big step for us. Our parade, we had 25 groups participating in that. And then we had a crazy assembly with a motorcycle. That was really cool. And our dance team. Academic wise, we just ended, or no, we're coming up on our end of quarter one, October 30th. Our PSAT is actually tomorrow. And we hosted a college fair. The regional fair, we had about 727 students come through. Compared to last year, we only had around 588 people, which was another huge step up. Our IB exam registrations is now $34, which is coming up at the end of the year, which is only $34 thanks to the Advanced Opportunity Society. Our activities, we have over 500 students, student athletes, I guess, involved in a fall activity. We had a choir concert last week. We have a Willy Wonka musical coming up in November. We had our football senior night against Butte last Friday. Was it 24, 23? 23, 22. I don't remember. I hit my head hard. We have cross country happening in Helena. Soccer is wrapping up. It's actually, they're having senior night tonight, and they're wrapping up their regular season. And then flag football has those girls, wherever they went. Just mentioned that just wrapped up. Flathead, I think, placed third overall. But yeah, that's about all I have. Sorry, it's not very well prepared, but yeah. Do we have any questions about anything at all? Absolutely. I would say this year I've had the most amount of fun I've ever had playing football compared to any other. Yeah, just with the new coach and everything.
Any other questions for him? I've heard great things about your football program.
Yeah.
So,
Just getting better slowly. Everything takes time, but
congrats on the win.
thank you.
It's awesome.
Thank you, sir.
And good to see you healthy enough to be playing again.
Yeah. Yeah,
Stay healthy.
I'm trying to.
How many more games do you have?
We have 2 more games. We have Crosstown coming up on Thursday, and then we have Sentinel next week on Friday, and that will conclude the regular season, and the playoffs will start.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Enjoy your evening now. All right. Next up is public comment. At this time, the board provides the opportunity for comment on public matters that are not on the main agenda. Members of the audience are encouraged to briefly address the trustees on issues that are not on the main agenda. The chair of the board will seek comments from the audience on significant items as they occur. Public matters do not include any pending legal matters, private personnel issues, or private student issues. Please do not attempt to address such issues at this time, or you'll be ruled out of order. Please note that each individual will be given 3 minutes for public comment. Is there anyone here for public comment? All right. Moving on. Personnel activity report. Carrie doesn't have anything to add to the report, so if you've had an opportunity to review it, do we have a motion?
So
Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Jennifer. Any questions for Carrie from the board or comments? All right, seeing none, all in favor of approving the personnel activity report as published, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up is the Transportation Operations and Accounting Specialist. Carrie, are you taking this?
Yeah, and Jeff can jump in if he wants to. We are requesting a new position in the transportation department to assist Laura with basically routing. There's been an uptick of displaced students that is causing quite a bit of extra work. And so we are requesting for some help in that area to with the routing, and then adding as a non-union position some supervisory tasks in that job description as well. So anything else, Jeff, you want to add?
Yeah. Hey, for those of you who haven't met Jeff Richer, I'm the Director of Facilities, 2 months now? Yeah, 2 months now. The only thing that I wanted to add is what we consolidated into this position is currently being covered by other folks who are putting in a lot of overtime. So what we're trying to do is consolidate some responsibilities that make sense to be in one spot, create an actual position for that spot, and then that frees up the folks who are spending that extra overtime, including the transportation director, to be able to focus on their primary responsibilities. I'm standing by for questions.
Questions for me on the board? Yeah, well, turn your mic on, please. Thank you.
So I'm just wondering, what is the district's definition of a displaced student?
So it'd be a student that is currently attending a school that's not in the neighborhood school. Or requires special transportation to get to their school that's outside of their neighborhood.
How do they become a displaced student?
Well, several ways. We can have some students that might be McKinney-Vento students. They could be displaced to where they've started a school at one school, or started a school year out of school, and then through housing insecurity was moved into a different home, and then they qualify for McKinney-Vento, and so they are entitled to maintain the enrollment at their first school. And it's an intentional law so that kids don't bounce around. They could be considered a displaced student. We also have we're really tight in the elementary, and I think this has been talked about at a couple board meetings too, where our schools are reaching capacity at certain grade levels. So we might have a family move into our area and they have a third grader, but for example, at Rankin, and Rankin's full, and so then they have to go to Peterson. So they're in the Rankin neighborhood, but they're displaced going to Peterson.
All right.
Those are probably the two most common ways that students would be displaced. There's other maybe special ed considerations or things like that might drive that number.
So my second question is, have we been paying overtime to these people that are doing overtime work?
In some situations we have, but other situations are salary. The challenge with this position is it's probably overdue as a recommendation from us by a couple of years. Our previous transportation director was able to manage both fairly well, but it really became one of the primary sources for burnout in her position. Ironically, this position is the position she left our district to pursue in a different district. So, at one time, probably a decade ago, this was tenable to have one person do both jobs. It's no longer appropriate to have all of those responsibilities tied to one director position when you're in charge of oversight and management of the entire department, plus all the routing and rerouting and special accommodations. So, if I do have a regret around this, it's that we didn't bring it to you 3 years ago. But yeah, I think in some situations it shows up as actual overtime. In other situations, it's probably more commonly showing up as grossly exceeding normal salary workload.
So there actually is a sum of money that won't be used for overtime. It's going to be part
Yeah,
of
I wasn't part of running any of those calculations, so I wouldn't want
Sorry.
to speak to any projections there. But yeah.
As the board chair of Sparrow's Nest that houses homeless unaccompanied youth, I just want to speak to the displaced kids who are trying to get to their home schools. It has been near to impossible if they're out of town, to get routes where those kids connect and then can get up there. In fact, we have just pretty much started doing it ourselves, which is very difficult because it means someone has to leave the home and it requires more coverage. If this could help solve some of that, and this problem has been going on I can't even remember how long it's been going on. Well, since I started counseling, so years and years. And it's just, there's never any way for Flathead or Glacier to pair up with Columbia Falls so those bus routes match. And it's just a nightmare. And yet we have a law that we need to abide by. And sometimes we just can't. So maybe.
That challenge is really acute in the high school districts. And so what it is specifically, let's just say it's, and we don't have this situation I know of, so I'm going to use it, but let's say we have a student that is misplaced from Whitefish to Kalispell. It'd be the responsibility of Whitefish to transport that student to Kalispell. So we can take care of our side of the route, so to speak, if we have a student that is a Kalispell resident that is now going to school in Whitefish, and take care of the transportation to get them to Whitefish. But it would be the responsibility of the other district coming back this way. And then oftentimes you have really hardworking, well-intended people in those transportation departments that are setting those things up, and it takes several weeks to coordinate. And those weeks cause significant delays and frustration to probably what you're hearing about from the folks at the Sparrow's Nest and other organizations or places that are working with those students. So it's a real problem. It's real complicated. And, the onus falls on the district of origin.
And I just want to clarify that I'm not only speaking as the board chair of Sparrow's Nest, but also as a counselor at Columbia Falls trying to get kids hooked up. So, I mean, this is just, it's a difficult scenario. Very, very.
Could you speak to the benefits of having those kids in consistent schooling, though? Yeah, anyone
absolutely. I mean,
that's what we're weighing against, right? The complexity against that stability.
Most of them want to stay with their home school. They don't want to start over unless they're looking like maybe to go to Linderman. But typically they want to stay with the people they know, the kids they know, and the consistency with curriculum, et cetera, et cetera. Teachers. Yeah. Oh, teachers. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe family members that are in that, so for sure.
Other questions? And it might be in the memo, Matt, but can you talk about funding for this position? I'm assuming that it's with it being transportation, that it's permissive levy that we can.
It's fully out of the transportation fund.
Okay, so nothing's coming out of the general fund for this. Okay, perfect. Any other questions? All right. Do we have a motion? Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Will, for the second. Any further discussion from the board? Any public comment on this? All right, seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up is information on insurance. Chris and Jack, are you guys taking this?
Do you want to go, Jack, or it doesn't?
I can go ahead and start. So Thursday, we had a regular monthly insurance meeting, and there's a presentation by Bridged Health, which is the statewide group that is trying to take advantage of the legislative action taken in 23 to provide $40 million to help cover the beginnings of a school health insurance program. There's a lot of skepticism at first, a lot of not knowing what it's really going to be like at first. And the presentations at first were, from my perspective, very difficult to appreciate. And I was also concerned about the bodies that exist to be interfering with something that can be good. Sue will appreciate that comment.
Yes, I do.
And you have one group, which is the Bridged Health, which is a sales approach. And then you have our consultants who are very analytical, and their experience is nationwide. It's just not in one small locale. but they work with groups throughout the nation, so they understand all of the dynamics that are at play in self-insured programs at both public and private entities of small and large scales. But the picture was better presented this time around because they had time to develop the understanding of the small school needs and the large school needs, and that the large schools would not lose their autonomy of their programs that they have. There'd be some benefits underneath it that can be helpful. So it's not as we're definitely not as skeptical. There's still documents that need to be signed and processed and understood that are going to take, hopefully they'll be understood over the next couple of weeks, and a presentation will be in the insurance committee the first Thursday in November, and then come to the school board. I think we'll have all the questions figured out by then in order to make it go. So it is much more promising than it was 6 months or 12 months ago, which is borderline stunning. But also there are certain bodies that will not be as involved as what there were concerns about. So that's my observations to it. So yes, it's something to be hopeful about.
Yeah, I think I would agree. There was a lot of questions to be answered. This is a $10 million spend for us annually. So it's just like massive. The other thing with insurance is it's such a specialized niche industry that it really truly requires a high level expertise to really know what you're talking about and make recommendations or do analysis to say, is what's happening good or not good? Just kind of bigger picture context for our district from the financial side of things. Like as I look at our insurance, the number one, again, just financially, priority is stability. Like, are we having whipsaw years where we're down $1.5 million and then needing to siphon off the interlocal, and then another year where we're up a few $1 million, and then is it all over the map, or do we have stability and consistency? And over the last 5 years, USI has actually done an excellent job in bringing that kind of stability that is really important when you have something as big as this that can be as volatile as this. If you compare us to the other AA's, we just on a purely cash in, cash out basis for those districts that are self-insured, over the last couple of years, we're performing second in the state on a cash flow basis. So our consultants have done us well that way. The kind of second tier after that kind of stability is really like, can you find ways to leverage costs down, right? And this is something that we've had a real problem with because we effectively have a monopoly locally with Logan being the sole provider. The thing that the trust brings is the ability to partner with other districts across the state, and then have a third party administrator, which would be Allegiance, negotiate on our behalf with leverage and arm's length with thousands of others across the state to negotiate better pricing than what we might be able to get done on our own. That said, beyond that, not a whole heck of a lot would likely change. We would keep our consultants as USI. We would still be technically self-insured, and remain autonomous by and large, but have that buying power of the state trust behind us. So going forward, we will probably we'll have a recommendation to the board at the first November meeting to join the trust, but on a contingent basis. The contingency being that they are able to negotiate the contracts with healthcare providers that they've kind of stated that they would be able to at a fixed kind of multiple of Medicare. We can go into what all that means later. And then also an opt-out deadline so that if they haven't had enough people join or enough districts join, that the law requires for this trust to validate, that we can jump out and then renew and kind of resume business as usual, or at least make our decisions at that point in time. So you'll see a recommendation coming a month from now with those contingencies and kind of drop dead dates defined, and exactly what those contingencies, like they're met when they're here and they're not met when they're here. So that's kind of what we anticipate. Am I missing anything on any of that stuff?
No, I think all of that's really good. I just want to zoom out pretty high level real quick, just so that people understand the landscape of why this is an informational item tonight. If there's a decision or recommendation to go with bridged health insurance, it doesn't mean that we're abandoning our self-insured. We would still be self-insured, and we'd still require consultants. We would still set our own rates. It's still going to be a discussion inside of our district around how do we manage our own insurance. The third-party administrator that we work with is currently the third-party administrator that Bridge would work with, so we wouldn't have a transition there. But the deadline dates are coming up where the insurance committee meets on the 6th, November 6th, and then the next board meeting that following Tuesday would be in front of this board. A decision would need to be made. Well, it wouldn't need to be. The Bridge would like that decision to be made at that meeting so they could start working with the third-party administrators to develop rates at hospitals so that they can have more time to negotiate on those contracts. We could push it to the December board meeting if we had to. My preference would be not, so that we're trying to gear this thing up so that we have really clear information to the insurance committee on the 6th and then back to this board for a decision on the 11th.
Just one little curiosity in the whole process is Judd, is it?
Yeah.
Judd with the Bridged Health is works for USI, but a different area of USI than Scott and Eric do. Scott and Eric are very independent contractors. And in both cases, USI was bought by Cigna, which is a big health insurance company. And Cigna has allowed USI to remain independent, but more specifically for Scott and Eric's group to be more independent than everybody else related to USI. And it's because of their wealth of understanding and experience. So it's interesting dynamics to see these two USI groups, I'm going to almost say battle each other, because Judd is the green person and he's not fully admitting that he doesn't understand everything. And Scott and Eric are schooling him. And it's interesting to see how he has to back off in some cases. And even if he tries to present an argument, Eric or Scott have the ability to politely shoot it down. So those dynamics are interesting, and it just helps solidify the fortunate experience that we have with the consultants that we have, and that Judd is more of a salesman than he is a technician by any means. His whole upbringing is on the sales side, not on the technical side. That doesn't prevent the Bridged Health from being a good program. It's just that when you're a promoter of something, to get something off the ground, you probably need that type of personality to get it going. But you also need this other personality here to be the check and balance. And that's what's been neat to see in this whole process for the last 12 to 15 months that has made that was, in my mind, very front and forward at the meeting on Thursday and again on Friday. So to me, that's where looking at just the dynamics of everybody's approach has just been fascinating to see that it is going to come to fruition, and there is the potential for something really good. It's just there's still some documents that need to be well understood.
Thank you, Jack and Chris. Is there any questions from the board for, yeah, well, go ahead.
So as I understand it, there has to be a certain level of participation of the districts in the trust in order to go forward. Is there a time frame that you know of where they have to reach that level of participation?
They're hoping for November and at the very latest December.
Oh, it has to be right now.
Well, you need to have lead time in order to, if this wasn't going on, we'd normally have to be doing our solicitation of providers sometime in March or April to have it all completed. So they understand that all the school districts have to do that, whether they're large or small. So in order to make sure that they can get enough commitments of the 12,000 participants and 150 school districts to participate, they need to have a few months to know that, okay, we're getting these people to say something. We can start going to Logan Health or Deaconess or Benefice or whoever it is and start negotiating lower rate or a percentage of Medicare as far as a rate go. The highest rates in the state are at Logan Health. So they're the ones that are going to have to be knocked on the most. And the fact that the local school districts, Whitefish, Columbia Falls, Kalispell, Big Fork, can be more of a united front under this, can be helpful. It's kind of what was attempted 10 years ago that wasn't done very successfully. It worked, but not to the same degree that this has the potential to work. So so the lead time is there to know, are they going to get commitments a lot from the double A's and then the A's in order to get the 12,000 participants, and that the two levels, level 1 and level 2, has made, and the distinguishing characteristics of level 2, the autonomy and the independence, the retention of their own reserves, those kind of things are not commingled, they're maintained separately. So those are all things that have been worked on, understood, developed, and they've come up with a way inside this trust in order to accommodate those needs that exist. But the timeline is November and December, so they can start knocking on the doors of the big hospitals in order to say, this is what we have, because the hospitals don't want this to happen. It takes away their power trips. This all of a sudden means that they have to get more serious about negotiations, and it means that in many cases their revenue is going to drop because they're going to have to agree to lower charges.
Any other questions or comments for Chris or Jack? Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
I just have a comment because they presented at the finance committee meeting and kind of boiled down. I asked them, especially our consultants, I said, well, as I'm hearing this, it sounds like we're looking into things now, and what we might be asked to do by way of a commitment going forward would be something that would be recommended by both our current consultants and Judd on behalf of the other group I'm spacing on right now. And they're both pretty much in unison on that, with our consultants wanting to see the actual agreements, but understanding that it's a commitment that if these certain things happen, then we would move forward, and they felt comfortable with the clauses. So kind of as it all boiled down, basically is an update of this thing is moving along. It's getting to a point where they're going to need to get critical masses to sign on so they can go negotiate with Logan Health. And if they're successful in that regard, then, obviously that's to the benefit, and we would then probably want to move forward with it. But the thing they'd be asking of us in a month would be agreeing to sign on with those contingencies that we aren't fully on unless they actually are able to negotiate. So I'm just trying to, sorry, Jack, I'm your wingman who tried to make it simple enough for me to understand. So, okay, there you go. Yeah.
We're supposed to argue.
We do that too.
Any other questions for him? Yeah, go ahead, Jennifer.
So we put into place like a lot of
partnerships with Greater Valley. Would this have any kind of effect on those partnerships with Greater Valley?
No, I asked that question because they're one of the providers that are allowed into the plan with Allegiance. Is that right? That's the network. So anyway, yeah.
So we use the word tiers. So in our health insurance program, we have a tier 1. That tier 1 is completely independent of the tiers that are going to be at the bridge
Okay.
health level. And the bridged health level will not interfere with our tier 1
Okay.
providers.
Nice. Thank you.
Carrie made sure of that.
Any other questions for him? All right, thank you for the update. We look forward to next month's meeting and further discussion around insurance. Yeah. Next up is the authorization to declare the Washington building as surplus property. Matt, you taking that?
Yeah, as the title of the agenda item notes, this is about the Washington property. We no longer occupy that space. So my recommendation is that we list the property and then see what interest there is in the property. And then if the property does sell, then it puts the board in a position to reinvest that into future property for the district. Or use how they see fit. But we currently have no use for that space. We don't intend on using that space in the future for anything educational. The last time it was used was during when we had an interim superintendent. His office was based out of there. Prior to that, it was a transportation headquarters prior to the new transportation facilities building being built. And I think at that time, there was some discussion about selling the property after that new building was constructed. So a little bit of time has passed. We still own that building, aren't using it, don't plan on using it, and my recommendation would be to list it.
And also,
Yep,
Dave
and
is
we have
here.
Dave Gerardo, a realtor from Kalispell, and he could answer questions and speak to it.
It doesn't say this, but my impression is this is an elementary issue because it's elementary property and any proceeds from it would be set aside for elementary capital improvement or expenditures. Maybe you can clarify that, but that's the impression that I have.
Chris, is that how you understand it?
Yeah, it was previously served as an elementary school, is my understanding.
This was the old Edgerton School for anybody that wants to know
Yeah.
about it.
Jack, you that's a really good question. You'd have to, yeah, I'd have to look into that. Because it was a district-wide use. So I'm not sure of the elementary versus high school funding.
Yeah, it'd likely come back to what district purchased it to begin with, which might be a challenge to find, but I'm sure we could.
Well, it was originally Edgerton School.
Yeah.
And then in '86, when the new one was built, then it got vacated.
Was
Is
Linderman?
that right, Linda?
Yes. Yes, but was Linderman ever in there? Laser was in there, and then Heart Locker was in there, and yeah.
There's been a lot of changes.
A lot of things.
And even if they
Just to be clear, it's our assumption that it would be whichever district purchased the property, and that would be an elementary issue. I can hear the assistant superintendents arguing about where the proceeds should go, and they both have strong opinions. But we would follow the letter of the law, and it would most likely be an elementary district issue. So what I would ask for tonight is the elementary trustees voting, and Jack's nodding his head as a high school trustee. So that tells you something.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Jack. This is an interesting issue for us since it has been used multiple different ways within our district. But we will treat this at this point as a elementary only vote. Go ahead.
Timing for selling? What do you think?
Yeah.
Around a year.
Dave, can you just
Sure.
speak to it at the
And-
mic and
and-
turn it on?
Okay,
Thank you.
you're expecting it to take about a year, but what about putting it up right now? I mean, what about all that?
Oh, but once
The
you-
market, yeah.
Once you guys decide to list it, it's a week process we get all professional photography. Is that your question?
No, my question is based on how fast what the market is like right now,
Yeah,
to list it now.
yeah, I'm expecting 6 to 12 months on market
Okay.
to complete a sale. It's coming back right now. The first 3 quarters were pretty bad nationwide. We just became a national franchise, SVN, which is a nationally recognized commercial franchise, 200 offices across the nation. And so we got a good handle nationwide, everywhere nationwide, even in the faster growing cities, Raleigh, North Carolina, Charlotte. All those cities saw a pretty big downturn for the first 3 quarters, but things are really starting to come back, both residentially and commercially nationwide right now. Yeah,
How much did it appraise for? Has it appraised yet? It's just
it has
curious.
not
Okay.
appraised.
So Dave, is the potential financial impact, that's just kind of your guesstimation of your experience of dealing with commercial properties?
Yeah, I did a full market analysis on the property for the finance committee.
Okay.
And using the comps you can on a special purpose building like this, it's hard to find comps in the valley anyway for most properties, but I found the church on West Reserve that just sold. I believe that was around 110 a square foot. It was 6,000 square feet. There was a church on East Evergreen that was a school and a church. That was 19,000 square feet total. It had a bunch of outbuilding classrooms, had an outbuilding gym, and then the main church building. So it was 19,000. That one is under contract, and I talked to the listing agent, and it's about $45 per square foot. And then I just sold an office building up on right behind the middle school. It's got 18 private offices. It's got a great location, a lot of parking. That one sold for $650. So that one sold for about $125 a square foot.
What's the zoning for that?
B2, which is great zoning. That's the most liberal zoning for business zoning you can get. It allows the most types of uses for that property. So I do everything from multifamily to office to retail, and some very light assembly, light industrial type uses. Well, assembly and really light manufacturing.
I think it's a great idea. That's just it was I can't share my business ideas. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I was thinking we were talking about uses as a daycare buying it, or perhaps like a small private school, or like something using it. But then I also said, well, if you look at the McMinimans model, you can buy it and turn the gym into a movie theater and put a beer and wine license there, or maybe a brewery there, which you would manufacture beer, and you could do it all right there. Anyway, that was my idea. But yeah, I'm getting some thumbs up down the way anyway. So yeah, and neither here nor there. And so, but I was at the finance committee meeting on this as well, and I don't have super strong feelings one way or the other on this one. My main thing is if we do list it, I'd love to get Dave actually in the building again to walk around.
I went today.
Oh, you went today?
Yes.
And so as far as like your thoughts on the condition of the building and how that was adjusted compared to the comparables, in light of potential remediations that may or may not need to be done, has that changed any of your thinking on the numbers?
Yeah, we went down. I took 100 off. For the first time I looked at it was a while ago, and it still had the old boiler in there with the asbestos and piping on the asbestos coming out of the boiler was all asbestos coated and all that, but that's all been removed, which is great news. So, I was thinking more in the 775 range, but now I'm thinking more in the 850 range because there's not going to be that need for that asbestos cleanup, which is super expensive. So, yeah.
Good. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Ursula?
So one question is just, obviously, we've talked about all the things the building could be. Things are kind of weird with like early childhood things, but still, we don't feel like we have a need for this building. Like if we were going to do anything, we can make it work. I mean, I don't want to sell a building and then ask to need to build another building.
Yeah, so when we did the long-range facility study, one of the things that was obvious is the size of a lot and the capacity you want in a building. So if you think of our smaller campuses across the district, Elrod, Russell, even Peterson, that they're below what you would build a new building at for capacity and like staffing to student ratios. It's right around 400. So if you picture Rankin would be repeated. And then those other school sites, the option would be to build them up. Peterson and Russell have the potential because they have the lot size. Elrod does not. Elrod's on a small lot. The Washington building is on an even smaller lot. And so the operational cost to keep that building going and to staff administratively and all the support staff to run a building wouldn't drive a cost ratio to warrant putting a few classrooms in there. Yeah, but good question. That could be a story to clarify in the future when you sell a piece of property, but you need to add on to a different site. But it becomes pretty obvious when you just pull the thread on a little bit.
Right. And then my other question is just logistical. I saw in the proposed motion that it talks about that we're authorizing, but I didn't see that we were authorizing to have a realtor represent us. Is that a contract that you can sign on your own, or do we need to add that into the motion?
That would be the next phase of this.
Okay.
Any other questions for staff or for Dave? All right, thank you, Dave. Appreciate the information. Seeing no other questions, comments, do we have a motion for elementary only? Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Sue. Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Elementary only.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next up is the Transformational Learning Grant 2.0. Matt, you taking that?
Yep. So this is just an update that we are applying for the Transformational Phase 2 grant. This has been really fun to put together. So on one hand, it's a celebration of what we've accomplished. On the other hand, it's looking forward and envisioning out the next phase of this. The grant was specifically written by the legislature to award up to 5 schools, 2.5 million in grant funds, and they're targeting schools that have successfully used their phase 1 funds from Transformational Learning Grant. So we're just really hopeful and positive about our chances, and we have a really clear vision of what we want to continue to scale up and expand across our district and across our state. And I've shared a couple letters recently. We have 18 different. We have 18 letters of support, and I shared with you 4 examples today. But it's really fun to see letters come in from students, from staff, from our union president and vice president, some legislators. So it's just a positive opportunity, and we're really hopeful for it. The financial impact in our request is for close to 1.5 million. And our spending timeline between phase 1 and phase 2 would extend to 2029.
Questions for Matt? Will?
I noticed when I was reading that it's to expand this across the region and the state, but I was unclear about what the region was.
Yeah, so great question. this is fun for us to talk about. The vision behind Doris Mountain was really, how can we bring in our partner districts? As you guys know, our high schools, over half of our students from our high schools come to us from our partner districts. So how can we use the innovative things that our teachers are doing to share out with our partner districts, and then also learn from our partner districts? So what does an even stronger collaborative relationships look like with our partner districts? And that's what we refer to as the region. But there's also tremendous potential across the state. So I see my peers across the state really trying to do the same work. What they're really trying to do is interpret what is the legislative intent, and then what are the major initiatives from the OPI, and then who are the consultants that you need to bring in to help you do this work, and then what phases and stages of development do you have. So I think, everybody's trying to do the same work, and some coordination across their state, and I'm proud of the work our teachers and administrators have done to pave the way in those processes. We've done some things absolutely correctly, and we've learned the hard way on some other things. And it'd be nice to share those experiences, but also learn from other districts, and then create a model that would work, across the state for different size schools. And that's really the spirit of the Phase 2 grant is, I think Representative or Senator Beebe referred to it as Petri dishes. He said we had, we gave this Phase 1 money out, and we've seen some Petri dishes grow and some not. And they really want to look at the ones that have grown and see what is the formula here, and how can we scale this up and spread it. Thank you for asking that question.
Any other questions for Matt?
Yeah, Matt. When do we hear about whether we got it or not?
The grant is due at the end of the month, and then I think they do the awarding, sometime in the spring. I will have that date marked on my calendar, but I do not yet. Yeah.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you for that information, Matt. Next up is policy updates. Matt, you want to take on these?
Yep, there's been a slew of policies go through the board at previous meetings. This is the next round. You'll notice the difference in these policy recommendations that several of these are for first reading and some of them for adoption. The difference between first reading and adoption would be the adoption policies are required based on a change in statute. And the other policies that are up for first reading, they're recommended by MTSBA. They're not required, or at least the changes are not required. It's my recommendation to go with the changes that are recommended by MTSBA, and then choose the options that are most applicable to our school. So I've outlined those in each one of the policies that have that option. And the reason for that is because so many of our policies cross-reference each other, and MTSBA is the one they're the organization specifically working for you, the board, to make sure that the policies that you have as a board are aligned with state statute. And there's been a lot of legislative action in the last couple sessions that have driven many policy changes. So it would be a stretch to go outside of the main intent of what MTSBA is doing on our behalf. They are also our legal support and counsel. So in the event that something does go sideways in the district, they're the ones we turn to, and it's good to be following their policies when we are in such a situation.
So are all these policies listed currently up for adoption? They're not first reading?
I can go through the list, but the ones that I outlined first would be for first reading. And so those would be see, it'll take me a second to read through them, but I surely could. So it'd be the policy 25 is first reading and adoption. I'll start at just in the order that I have them listed in the notes section that I sent. Policy 1014 and policy 1014 F, so that form would be a first reading. Policy 111 or 1111 would be first reading. Policies 2335, first reading. Policy 2132, 3410. Policy 3510, policy 2335. And that was the policy that's been referenced a couple times. That was adopted earlier in August, I believe, at that board meeting, and then there was a change from MTSBA. The change that's included on the agenda is the correct change.
That on 2335, I still didn't see the corrected. I see the corrected language in the notes, but I don't see it in either the red text in the policy below or in the linked policy. So just if you
Okay.
could check that.
I will double check it. We did check it before the meeting, and it should be the one that's attached to the agenda. Okay, but I will double check that. Thank you for your careful eye.
So, Matt, I have a question.
Yep.
This does not include that new AI policy, correct?
No, there's an AI policy came out, actually, I think today.
Yeah.
But no, this does not include that. I actually have not had a chance to review that one yet.
Yeah, me neither.
Yep.
Other questions for Matt? I'm just gonna make one suggestion on our agenda moving forward when we're doing policy updates. Me personally, I would appreciate them broken out into what's first reading and then another section for adoption. It just makes it easier, and I think better to clarify it for us and people that want to look at our agenda. It'll be easier for them to say, okay, this is first reading. We can still have some comment on it if needed, and then ones that we are going to be adopting either on first reading or second or third reading. I would appreciate that.
Yep, good suggestion. We can do, and we will reflect that also in the notes. So separate those two in the notes.
Okay. With that, is there any other questions regarding the policies? I know that a few of you are very policy-minded people and do a great job of reviewing these and bring any suggestions forward. So if there is none, do we have a motion to approve the recommended policy adoptions?
So move.
Thank you, Sue.
I'll second.
Thank you, Linda. Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up is the elementary only consent agenda. If you've had elementary trustees, if you've had an opportunity to review the consent agenda, do we have a motion?
So move.
Thank you, Sue.
Second.
Thank you, Jen. Any further discussion from elementary trustees? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up is district-wide consent agenda. We've had an opportunity to review that. Do we have a motion to approve the district-wide consent agenda?
So move.
Thank you, Jen. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Sue. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up is trustee reports. Ursula?
I have a couple things. I did see in the minutes that Sue, you had mentioned the biennial meeting and that you weren't super happy with it. I did want to point out, though, I went to the different time that you were there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think maybe it said decennial in the minutes. So I was like, oh, okay. I kept on saying it wrong. I guess I should have changed the minutes. I figured I was wrong. The decennial study. Um, the good thing that I felt was very obvious in it is that all of the things that they were like, oh, what if we tried this, was exactly what we've been talking about. And so it's like, well, great, let's get everybody on board. So that was really, really, really great. And then he's not here anymore. And I just, as it was my turn to say this, I was like, is his name Jeff? Our facilities? Yep. Jeff. Jeff came, which I thought was so great. So I had a chance to get to know him a little bit. And it was really nice. You know, he said he's had this whole career that was not in education. And to be there hearing about these education things, I really appreciated that he came, and I appreciated his perspective of like, oh, these seem like good ideas. I was like, well, you'll be happy to know these are the things we're trying to do as well. So that was really nice to see it lining up. They did not talk about finances there, but I did feel like as far as what do we need to do for that whole profile of a learner, that seemed like they were on the same page as where we're at. So that was really nice. And then I got to go to 2 high school events. I went to the Ag Ed Center's fall dinner and dance, and it was so sweet. It was so wonderful. It was I didn't know what to expect at all. It was a giant potluck. Everybody was very sweet. It was very much like families and kids all together. Not at all like the kids doing a thing and the parents doing a thing. It felt very much like one big family. It was really nice. It was nice to see everybody. And as I talked to people, the thing that families kept on saying to me is, it's so nice for my child to have a place where they really feel like they belong and they are known and they matter and they don't have opportunities like this other places. Lots of families saying, this is now a job that my kid is doing. This is so, just so much positive feedback, and a little less serious, but so cute. They have like a dance that they all know how to do to the You and Me Go Fishing in the Dark song. If you get invited to go next year, go just to watch them all sit on the floor and dance together and be so sweet. It was truly heartwarming. And then I went to Missoula for, it was U of M's homecoming parade, but they had 12 marching bands from around the state that were there, and both Glacier and Flathead went. And it was nice to see all of the different marching bands in the parade. But the best part was before they march, all of the bands meet up at the beginning of where the parade goes, and they go in a big circle, and they all take turns playing for each other. And it was just so great to see all of these schools from around the state feeling connected to other kids like them, and to have kids that had just graduated, that they had gone to school with, be now in the U of M marching band, just to show like, oh, look, like we are a part of this ongoing thing. And I am biased, but Glacier and Flathead both did stand out as exceptional. So that's my update.
Well, mine is not as good as that. Yes, I was excited to attend my first insurance meeting on Thursday and speak insurance. And then I am looking forward to the rest of that conversation. I wanted to go to the finance committee meeting the next morning, but I was out of town. So just learning all the nuts and bolts of all that. I don't know. Is there something wrong with me? Excited about insurance. Okay.
Nothing.
Anyway, there you go.
Nothing.
That's my report. Yeah.
There you go. Mine is Ursula. You're probably going to take the cake today. What can I say? My only thing I want to say today is I had a lot of questions for people across the district this week. I don't know why. I'm probably a policy nerd, so that's probably what prompted it. But thanks to Matt and his staff for so promptly answering my queries. Maybe they're ignorant queries, but everyone answered me kindly and completely and promptly, and I really appreciate that. It's only going to make me ask more questions, though. So beware. But thanks for that. Thanks for being open. And I went to a couple of high school homecoming activities, and it's just a delight. It's a delight to be part of this community. So thank you, everyone.
I don't really have anything. I'm just busy.
Nothing from you.
I always have something. I just wanted you all to know and to encourage you to view the School Funding Interim Commission meeting tomorrow. I got asked to sit on a panel with 4 other people, one other trustee from Bridger, Montana, and myself. And what we are talking about tomorrow, a couple of things, but we're talking about what's working, what's not working, mostly emphasizing what's not working. What are some improvements that need to be made? And we are talking, I'm basing what we're talking about tomorrow on what was going on today. There was a lot of questions from the commission to the panel about the preschool programs and on CTE and work-based learning programs. So I'm pretty excited. I did a little bit of homework, and I know I'm going to sit down with Sarah and talk with her a little bit about preschool. But I'm very encouraged hearing the questions that the commission is asking of the panel. I feel like they are truly interested in seeing what's going on around the state, a cross section, you know, big schools, small schools, Eastern schools, Western schools. So it'll be very interesting. I am going as a representative of MTSBA, but I do have some very specific examples from School District 5. So I'm kind of excited to be part of this.
How do we see this?
If you log on to the legislative site,
Okay.
it will tell you what's going on, 9 o'clock in the morning. And it's, and the cool thing is that MCEL follows that. I'm not attending MCEL this year. Matt, I believe, is going. But the legislators, well, the commission will be there during MCEL, which is pretty exciting. So it's a chance for, you know, us to tell them more about Kalispell Public Schools. Okay, that's all I have.
Sarah, when you were talking about what was available 25 years ago, well, 50 years ago at Flathead High School, there wasn't anything here for us women. There was track and we did, girls basketball was getting rolling, but Title IX was, and so you talk about, when I see these girls getting, I mean, soccer, softball, flag football, I mean, it just goes on, and it's just, if I ever had any regrets about wanting to be young, it would be for that reason only, because I could have all those opportunities. All we had was cheerleading. And yeah, I did it, but whatever, it's what I had, so. There wasn't even any hot water in there. And the toilets never worked. Oh, Title IX, hallelujah.
I was wishing my mother was at this meeting because when I was in 7th grade, I wanted to play football and she said, no, girls can. There we go.
My mom played basketball. She's 96 in Nyhart, Montana, but they could only take 4 steps and then they had to pass the ball because, you know, it might hurt something. I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm a bit of a different generation from the previous commenters. So I'm gonna pull out my young card here. I don't get to do it often. No, my mom actually, she fought for Title IX in Libby. Libby was pretty slow to implement it in Libby, and you know, unfortunately, it hurt her career to take on that fight. But it greatly helped all of my classmates and my friends because we had basketball and volleyball and track, and we actually had programs and we had jerseys and we got to travel, and those things weren't really happening as they weren't being implemented in a timely fashion. Very delayed. So anyway, but I got to benefit from that, and turns out I got to go to the mighty Montana State Bobcats and play basketball for them. So there you go. It's I don't want your jacket, Jack. This is where Jack and I argue. This is the point of the meeting where we argue. So anyway, we won't no. Sorry. Okay, so we have digressed. I wanted to say, along with our grant application, I just wanted to reflect as an employer, having had, I think now 7 interns in my law firm that we've hosted. It is just such a wonderful experience, and I would highly encourage anybody who has the opportunity to do it because it is amazing. These kids are so thoughtful and considerate and engaged, and they get to. I've taken Dalton with me. Dalton's our drum major here at Flathead High School. We watched him in the homecoming or in the senior night performance, and one of my paralegals saw him at the U of M homecoming parade, and I took him to a trial academy with me. I took him to justice court with me, and we got to do arraignments of inmates, which was pretty fun. He got to see justice dispensed. But anyway, I mean, it's really cool because these kids get an opportunity to see what it means to be in that field that they may not have any firsthand knowledge about. And it's so important for these kids not only to see that, to go, gosh, that's exactly what I want to do. I want to do that. I've also had interns that have done it, have come and intern, and they're like, man, I'm not sure I want to be a lawyer. And that is just as important before they invest all that time and money in doing that. And so I can't speak more highly about it. And I know that's just one piece of the transformational learning grant, but it's been so fun and rewarding to have interns. And I got to give Dalton a big shout out because he's our intern now, and all of them, they're going places, they're doing great things. Anyway, I would also offer that we have crosstown volleyball and football here on Thursday, if anybody is looking for something to do. Another thing I would offer for our trustees, we all have interesting backgrounds and experiences. We can all sign up.
We had a really busy week last week, but it was really good. Like I said, we had the technology committee meeting. I thought that was a good agenda that Jason and Eric put together, lots of information that was going to circle back with the finance committee. On Wednesday, we were able to host Craig Beringer. He's the Montana OPI Deputy Superintendent, which is a big honor for us to have him come and visit our school. We started with a conversation with extended classroom experiences and internships, and we met at the Chamber of Commerce with Lorraine and Jen, Lorraine Clarino and Jen Kronk. And they gave them the chamber perspective, and then we had some Mike and Bryce and Kara give the school perspective. Then we headed to Hedges, and we visited a first, second grade combo and a third, fourth combo, or fourth, fifth combo, and had some students present to Mr. Beringer, and they knocked it out of the park and did a really good job of sharing what's happening in their school and what competency looks like and how they're tracking their own growth. And then we came back to my office, and Mr. Steiger and Mr. Stanfield presented on our charter schools. So it was fun to take a little district tour, but then also to celebrate the really good work. I mean, the charter schools are new, and we forget that happened really quick, and our teams put together some pretty awesome charter schools, and now we're just seeing some good stories come from that. And then at the end of the day, or at the end of the meeting, it was actually the time for our new student intern. We've been watching all these other businesses hire interns and bring on student interns. And so we thought we were missing out. So we have a student intern in our central office, Nolan Sturck, senior at Flathead High. And he came in. And so he met with Mr. Beringer and told his experience. And that was really fun for us to share. And then Thursday, we had our secure education consultant, SEC, first roundtable. So Ms. Brady led our first roundtable discussion. And that's coming from a couple of years ago. The school did an audit with that firm. We've been working through that audit. This was an opportunity to come around a tabletop discussion that was around a specific scenario and test different groups. So we had the KPD present, and they were participating. We had the fire department, the Kalispell Fire Department participating, and then just administrators, teachers, a mix of central office people at that meeting. And then Thursday was also insurance updates. So we had admin insurance update, and then we had our insurance committee update. And then it was also VOAG. I don't know if any of you were able to make it out to Heritage Days at the VOAG, but those kids do an amazing job every year. They did an amazing job this year. I was only able to get out there for just a short minute this year, but if you run into them, celebrate them. We have a different change in leadership out there, and Rich is doing an amazing job. Big shoes to fill with Brian retiring, and those kids just step up, and they were hosting. When I was out there, they had, I think, Kyla Smith Valley students out. So they had all of our elementary kids in the morning, and then they had a lot of our partner school kids in the afternoon. Just a fun event. So running us through the squeeze chute, getting the class weight, showing them how brandings work, vaccinations, all of course in their age appropriate language. And then Friday, I was invited to have a conversation at the warming shelter with discussions on the bench. So it's a national program to where at the warming shelter, somebody stayed up all night, 24 hours, to raise awareness for homelessness in the Flathead. And so at 6:30, I was invited to fill that spot, and we had a conversation just about what homelessness was in the valley, but specifically how it impacted our students. I was able to talk about the Heart Locker and just other ways that families are supported. I would say my main talking point is when we have conversations about homelessness as a school, it's met with such less resistance than when conversations around homelessness happen in our community because it's impacting a child. What I want to remind people is that our kids live in families. So our homeless kids are oftentimes not just homeless kids independently. That happens a lot of times with our high school kids, where they'll be staying with a friend, or they'll be on their own or something like that. But we have homeless students that are also part of homeless families. So just bringing awareness to that perspective was a good conversation. I wouldn't say it was fun. And then we had a board finance committee after that on Friday, where we talked about more insurance. And so that's going to be a theme here for the next month. And then tomorrow I'm heading to MCEL in Helena and participating in that on Thursday. We have some other things, exciting things going on at the state level, but I'll leave those for later updates.
I'll be real quick and kind of go off of what Jen said, and Matt's just real excited to have Nolan Sturk in the central office as our intern. We've tasked him with a lot of things, but the biggest thing is obviously, that student agency is at the center of our PCBE work, and that's what we truly want to do, is have student voice. So he's going to be in charge of being the conduit between the high schools and providing student voice. That might be things on, hey, work-based learning, might be, hey, we want input on the calendar, we want student surveys. So everything that we have going on in our district is we want to hear from the students. We've turned him loose. It's a job for him. We're able to pay him out of advanced opportunities. And Matt has also put out there, we want to get more interns into our schools too. We have a lot of opportunities for kids to be able to do that. So I'm just excited about where that's going.
Yep, real quick too. I just want to make a commitment to making sure I invite you guys. We have so many cool things happening. Watching our teachers lean in this year, one of our goals was really to distribute leadership to teachers, to instructional coaches, to students. And so watching that happen as we kind of step back and just make space for it has been amazing. And 2 examples this year, I had 2 kids. We had Thistle, who I think was she at Doris Mountain?
Yeah.
Thistle was at Doris Mountain. Then we had another student do opening back from Paxton's class. And both kids I've seen this year, and both kids went out of their way. I'm at the middle school, and our 6th grader who presented is behind me, and I didn't realize. And someone said, "Someone's waiting to talk to you." And I turn around, she gives me a huge hug. The pride on her face for being asked to come and share and represent Hedges Elementary at the welcome back was amazing. And then she said, "I thought you were going to ask me the questions. Who is that guy who asked me the questions?" It was Superintendent Jensen. But it was just awesome. It's just been awesome to watch. And so I'll just make a commitment to make sure I invite you guys more often to those things that are happening in the schools.
Most of the time, I tell students, if you know who I am, that's maybe not the best thing.
So just real quick, the 28th, we are canceling that meeting. Are you
We
gonna-
currently don't have it. It's a placeholder on the agenda, but we don't have an agenda. We'll keep it as a placeholder, but if we don't schedule a meeting, we'll cancel it. There you go.
Okay, and then, finance personnel on Friday, November 7th, 9 to 10:30-ish at central office basement. And with that, thank you, Jack. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Will. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? All right, thank you.